Does The Division deserve a sequel? And are we really going to give it another shot? Especially after the disaster of the first one? When The Division was first shown at E3, it blew everyone away. It clearly stole Game of the Show, and the hype train started building from there. The first thing gamers were impressed with was obviously the graphics. They were stunning. The ugly, beautiful city covered in snow, full of trash and half-looted buildings. The environments were full of detail and life. It gave you a sense of a living city. Well, a city that was once living. Then you start to notice the subtle things in the gameplay, like the individual hand movements closing the doors while you're under fire. Ubisoft said this was gameplay footage, but it turned out they lied. Instead, we got a downgraded, lackluster game with an awesome premise, but the premise alone couldn't save this game, especially with the lack of story. The PvE zone was uninspiring. Each section of the map had the same missions. The only difference was the difficulty, which leads me to the enemies. Ubisoft's way of making this game more difficult was not through some awesome AI. No, instead they choose to make the enemies bullet sponges. You had to empty clip after clip after clip. It made the gameplay tedious. Then you would get a beanie or a jacket as loot. Loot that you couldn't really distinguish between each other, so you never really got to stand out and look cool. Then came all the cheating and all the exploits. The dead zone, which was supposed to be the end game, was frustrating to say the least. As soon as you entered, you were immediately targeted, even if you didn't have any loot to extract. Then the cheaters figured out how to overpower their weapons and armor, making them literally unkillable. What's the fun in that? And there lies the problem. It just wasn't fun. Sure, you can have some fun when you're playing with friends, but the friends was the fun part, not the game. It was dull, it was repetitive, it was full of cheaters, it was a letdown, and Ubisoft knew it. So then came the many patches to try to save the game. A total revamp even. A total revamp came way late in its life cycle. It was odd. But Ubisoft knows that we wouldn't have given The Division 2 a second thought, given how they left The Division 1. So they had to fix it. For all we know, those updates were just patches that were being used for The Division 2. So pretty much it was just self-serving. This leaves me in a weird position. It leaves me in the wait and see position. Last time I believed the hype behind The Division, and I loved the premise, but as an overall package, it was a total letdown. I won't be making the same mistake twice. This time, Ubisoft, you'll have to earn my money. You'll have to earn my trust. Are you ready to give The Division another chance? I'm just not sure I can. I guess we'll have to wait and see.